Hey, good morning. This is Sean here from Voice from the Dirt Road. Glad to be with you today. This is our 39th episode. Last week we had some gremlins that were playing with the system that we just kind of said, you know what, instead of having a show that's going to be in and out and all kind of crazy stuff going on, let's just take a break, make sure we got it figured out. And that's what we did. And now we're back here this week. So thank you for tuning in with us again this week. I see people coming in. I appreciate all the love and support. This week, we're going to talk about several things that's going on in the world of agriculture. In the world of agriculture right now, it is never a slow moment. But I also want to make sure that I talk a little bit about mentors and those kind of things in the world of agriculture, because I think it's so important that we have mentors, regardless if you've been in the world of agriculture for 10 years, 5 years, or 50 years. I think at all different levels, we all need to seek out a mentor to help us as we're going through this particular journey, regardless if you doing row crop or you're doing cattle or whatever you're doing. I would encourage you to seek out a mentor to try to help you get on your feet, or even if you've been in the game for a while, you got somebody you can bounce some questions off of and say, okay, what is the best practices out there? What did y'all guys see, 25, 30, 40 years ago? Or in my case, when it comes to cattle, what's the best type cattle to buy? You know, what have you learned from your many years in agriculture, or at least the cattle business? So with that, I'm going to jump on into the show, and like I was just talking about, mentor. Unfortunately, this past week, a very good friend of mine, Bill Nutt, he's the one that has on the red hat. Bill is was my mentor of since I got out of the military. I got out of the military about 3.5 years ago now, and luckily, the gentleman that's standing right there beside Bill is Don. Luckily, I met Don at a Wendy's in Cedartown, Georgia. Just fate, he had on a shirt that said something about Red Angus, and I simply asked him a question. Hey, could you tell me some things about y'all cattle? And then from there, we developed a relationship. He introduced me to Bill. Bill owns a very nice farm here in Cedartown, Georgia, and Bill and I had something in common. Both of us were cattle farmers or cattle producers, but more importantly, both of us had spent time in the military, and both of us had actually graduated from the United States Army War College up there in Carlisle, Pennsylvania. And from that relationship, Bill and I built a very strong mentor-mentee relationship. Bill took me under his wing. If it wasn't for Bill and Don, this farm that I'm actually talking to you this morning from would not exist. We would be getting it together, but we couldn't pull off all the things that we did so very quickly. And what I'm proud to say is the cattle that's actually on this farm, the first 5 cows that I purchased, two of those cows came from Bill, 3 of those cows came from Don. And Bill allowed me to go right to his farm, go out there with the cows with him, and pick what I wanted. That right there is priceless. And then from that point, Bill took me up to Red Hill. That picture there, as you see there, is our friends up in Red Hill, which is another awesome farm that caters to Red Angus cattle. And from that, introduced me to the whole community. So I just wanted to take time this morning and say thank you to Bill. After we finish this show today, we'll be going up to the military cemetery in Canton and laying Bill to rest. But I thought I would take the time this morning and say thank you to Bill for his great service to our country. Also to all the farmers and ranchers throughout the great state of Georgia, but really throughout the United States, that Bill has mentored and helped across the board. He would truly be missed. And Janet, anything you need, the answer is always going to be yes. So with that, Bill, rest in peace. And I look forward to he's being buried with full military honors today, and I look forward to be out there and witness the greatness of Bill. With that being said, let me move on now to a update on what's going on here on the farm. I just talked about Bill and Don. Pretty much every cow on my farm, except two that I got from Berry College University, either Bill or Don has been with me when I actually purchased the cow. That's the relationship that we have, and that's awesome. And I just ask or would advise any farmer or young person or anybody that's starting to get into agriculture is, as you go out and purchase your farm or whatever you're going to do, at that same time, spend the energy trying to find you a mentor that can actually help you get on your feet. But here on the farm today, I want to just talk just very briefly, because people are always asking me about Snowflake. Yes, you don't supposed to name your cows and all those kind of things, but Snowflake is Snowflake. My wife named her. The grandkids love her, but Snowflake is actually on baby watch. So Snowflake should be having her calf on September 3rd. That's a picture of her out there with the rest of the herd. And like I said earlier, pretty much every last one of my cows that's on the farm, except the two black Angus, every last one of those cows have some kind of connection back to Bill Dunn or Red Hill Farms, or other Red Angus farms throughout this region. So with that being said, we're going to be, as soon as I finish this show this morning, I got to go out and feed up and check on them. And as Snowflake goes through a journey, we'll post that and kind of go from there. As you can see there, one of the things that Bill taught me is make sure that when you're picking cattle, you got to have great feed, great udders, got to have all those kind of things. But Sean, you want to make sure you got a cow that's docile. You don't want something that's going to hurt you. So as you can see there, one of my black Angus cows that I got from Berry College just walks right up to me, and as you can see, Snowflake just lets me walk up to her and love on her. So those are just some little notes that Bill has passed on to me that I would pass on to other farmers and generations to come. But stay tuned on all of the different platforms that we have. Obviously, y'all guys know we'll be posting about Snowflake. She is the first one that should be calving this calving season, and then everybody else on the farm is also pregnant. And we'll go through that process and kind of go from there. But one of the reasons why Snowflake is calving now, which is a little early for us, is because she missed last time. And when I say she missed, when everybody else did the artificial insemination and they got pregnant, for whatever reason, she didn't. But we brought in a cleanup bull and she got pregnant by that bull, which was awesome. So now our cycle is a little off. Things happen, but you learn from that. One of the things that I am now relooking at, it used to be a point that if a cow did not get pregnant, I immediately sold it and moved on. Right now, y'all guys know cattle prices are very high. When we sell, we make very good money. But guess what? When you now try to buy back, it costs you a lot of money to replace that cow. So I done moved to a position now that if one of my cows don't actually get pregnant during the first round, that's not necessarily saying that that's going to be the trigger that's going to get off the farm. What I'm looking at now is saying, okay, we're just going to have a fall calving season and a spring calving season. So we'll just continue to work it, because our farm, or my farm, is still in the process of growing. I want to get up to 20 mama cows, and then have it where when we have the 20 mama cows, all 20 mama cows are having calves roughly in the same 30 to 40 day period, and then we'll be able to sell them off and kind of go from there. So that's the update on the farm. Again, like I said, without Bill, this farm would not be where it's at today, and he's truly going to be missed. And then on the other piece of that, please keep up with us on all our other platforms, and we'll let you know what's going on with Snowflake almost on a daily or couple daily basis on the other platforms. But next Friday, I'll also let you know where she's at in the process. In other news that's going on in the world of agriculture, as y'all guys know, it seems like the United States right now and Canada is exploding with wildfire. I think today, when Later on today, it's going to get roughly right at 100 degrees here in Georgia. And throughout the United States, we're in a heat situation, major droughts going on. Yes, we've been getting rain, but other places hadn't been getting the rain. But in the spinoff of that is many places right now that's actually out west that are completely on fire. Got a shortage on firemen and a shortage on other things that are happening. And these fires are completely out of control. They're trying to get their hands around it. But let the video play for a minute, and then I'll come back and talk a little bit about how these wildfires are not only burning down all the trees, but now how it is affecting some of the farmers, because all the trees, all the grass, everything has been burned up, and now farmers are having to buy additional feed when they usually have grass for the cows to eat, which in turn is going to put a major strain on some of our farmers out west. With that, please play the video.
The Aspen Acres fire, the largest wildfire in Colorado so far this year, is now 72% contained, and all evacuation orders have been lifted. So the fire burned more than 100,000 acres northwest of Rye.
And even where the flames have subsided, ranchers are now facing new problems.
Our Maggie Wolanski takes us to Cox Ranch near Beulah, where she's listening to one family of ranchers fighting to feed their herd.
Oh, it's just the quiet back here.
The sweet sound of nature.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
Is exactly what Mike Cox found in southern Colorado.
I was always looking for another quiet place to raise cattle, so this spot came up for sale and it worked out.
The noise you will hear? His cattle.
41 head right now. That's 17 pairs.
Ranching is in his DNA.
Hey, I've always been around it.
And his cows.
Come on, girls. Yo, girls.
Are good listeners.
Come on, girls.
Especially when it's mealtime.
Like I said, this is the dried distiller drink. It's 28% protein.
They all want a front row seat for lunch.
Let's give one of you guys some love. Here you
That's the
go.
bull.
And Mike knows meals are essential.
Yep. Yeah, you won't find a skinny one in there.
But food is turning into a massive expense.
It's over doubled in cost, and I'm going to have to feed year round now until I get some spring green up come next year.
And that peace and quiet Mike came here for?
Oh, never. Yeah, never, nothing like this.
Turned into a storm of flames last month.
The cracking and popping of some of the trees exploding. It was like a jet engine, just the roar of it.
His animals and his home are okay, but not his land.
I would say easily 3/4 or more of my property out of the 306 acres. That's 250 at least is burnt.
Mike said normally his cattle would be grazing out on this land, but as we're following him, we're gonna see the damage from the Aspen Acres fire.
Everything's torched.
It's a blanket of burn.
Those were all ponderosa pine with good shade and cover. Now it's just black sticks.
And a burden Mike is navigating.
Oh, geez, I'm thinking probably around in that 40 grand neighborhood because of the price of the hay.
He knows there could be some tough choices.
The possibility is that I may have to sell some of these cattle just because you can't continue to feed them at that price.
While the silence has returned to this burnt land.
It's going to take over a year at least minimum, and that's with good moisture.
If you listen closely, you can hear what matters most.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt.
The sound
Something you love.
of pure strength.
You're born and raised into it. You just, it's not a hard decision. It's easy to do.
With photojournalist David Tay, I'm Maggie Wolanski, Denver 7.
Beautiful area.
Yeah, as you can see, you know, farming is a God-sent occupation, is a labor of love, but it is always ups and downs. And what I loved about that news report is it got to the heart of the matter of not just telling us about the forest or the fire itself, but it was talking about the second effect of it, the impact and how it is affecting farmers. You know, obviously people lost their houses and pray for them. But on top of that, how is it affecting the farmers where now his cows were safe, made it through the fire, but now it has no grass for him. So he's having to come out and spend extra costs. And you heard what he said. At that rate, he may not be able to keep that herd completely, have to sell some of those cows off. So again, with everything that's going on in agriculture on the ranching side of it or the cattle side of it, is we're trying to grow the herd, but with all the different natural disasters that happen all over the country, we are in a situation where the herd is still getting smaller and smaller and smaller. So we'll do an episode where I talk about keeping heifers back to try to grow the herd, but then also the pressures that are actually out there on the farmers to try to grow the herd so that we can actually feed the American people and all those kind of things. But with that also being said, this past week on August 8th, Congress went into recess, or specifically the Senate went into recess. They worked extremely hard inside of the Ag Committee to get the Farm Bill passed. I want to make sure that everybody understand that Democrats and Republicans worked extremely hard to get the Farm Bill passed. However, they could not get it out of the committee before they went on recess. Now, they will be going back in session on September 15th. That this is normal. They're all at home right now, campaigning for the ones that are running, and then the others are at home, like actually just talking to the voters. But the piece I want to talk about here is because you're going to hear out there about the Farm Bill. Now, I would tell you, since the day I walked out of the military, I've been talking about the Farm Bill. I've been saying we need to get the Farm Bill passed. We got to take care of our farmers. But at the same time, on this show, we have talked about the other portion of the Farm Bill is also the SNAP program. And that SNAP program is the program that actually takes care of our least of us, which is our kids that don't have much, and mainly our seniors. And right now it's just a disagreement between philosophies. I know for a fact that the Democrats and Republicans, everybody agree that we need to get the Farm Bill done, because the last Farm Bill that we had is based on 2018. Those prices that are built into that Farm Bill are not meeting the needs of the natural disasters that we just talked about and other things. But on top of that, the disagreement at this point right now, everybody agrees that we need to pass a Farm Bill and take care of our farmers, period. That piece is done. The fight now is the Republicans, and I don't even want to say it that way, but the Republicans want to have 1 year so that the states can prepare for new rules that they're going to have put in place for SNAP, for people to receive SNAP if it's some errors. The Democrats are saying, hey, 1 year is not fast enough. Let's give the states 2 years to get their systems in place for errors. And that is the divide right now. What I think is going to happen is because all of our senators are at home, I think what's going to happen is because they're hearing it from both sides of the house saying, hey, guys, let's get some adults in the room. And I think probably what's going to happen is we're going to move that thing back to 2 years. That gives every state out there time enough to put their systems in place and potentially even have to hire some additional people because it's going to cost additional paperwork. But you can take care of the least of us and at the same time take care of our farmers. So with that, we'll see what's going to happen. I'll keep you updated. But I think we actually have a video right before they actually left out. And I think in there, you're going to see one of our senators from the great state of Georgia, because he's actually on the Farm Bill.
U.S. senators go into recess today with time to think about how to reintroduce a farm bill that can actually make it across the finish line. Hello, I'm Tyne Morgan. Haley Bickelhaupt has the day off. Now, this comes after the Senate Ag Committee failed last week to get Farm Bill 2.0 passed. Michelle Rook has perspective on the SNAP snag that is the main sticking point.
The Senate Ag Committee failed to advance the Farm Bill on a 10-11 party vote. Now, the divide was over the timetable for requiring states to pay a portion of benefit costs for SNAP based on payment error rates. So now the committee regroups and tries to strike a compromise. The biggest fight between Democrats and Republicans is SNAP and the shifting of the administrative costs to the states and counties.
The Republicans want only a 1 year delay on the cost shift proposal. The Democrats are mandating that they get a 2 year delay on that cost shift.
That SNAP divide drew a heated debate in the Senate Ag Committee.
But as we know, all of this will take 2 years, we believe, to get this all in place. So that is why there are many, many reasons that we're asking for this. But one of them is just this rank disparity between the high and middle error rates.
But Chairman Boozman stuck strong to a one-year delay.
We visited with the White House. We got the best deal that we can get. And I believe working together, we can get these error rates down.
In the end, the bill failed. So the next step now that the Senate left for the August recess is a pre-conference.
Meaning staff and members are going to work with Agriculture Committee members in the House and try to come up with a bill text that could potentially make everybody happy.
Excluded from the Senate bill was a fix for Prop 12, but it does include MCOOL and, more importantly, year-round E15, which she says could be the item that fosters a compromise.
That is something that we know a lot of Democrats wanted and a lot of Republicans wanted.
The return of Senator Mitch McConnell from rehab will also get the Farm Bill out of the committee, although it does not ensure passage.
McConnell coming back to the Senate is absolutely going to be moving that bill forward out of committee, but they still have to come to agreement on the SNAP provisions or they will never pass this bill on the floor.
Senator Boozman says he's committed to getting the bill out of committee after the August recess.
But there's no reason that we can't work together,
leaving hope for passage in the full Senate by the end of the year. I'm Michelle Rourke reporting for Ag Day.
Actually get that farm bill passed on. Like I have said publicly, I think we need to do the 2-year piece of it. I don't think that's a big deal, but I do say that we need to get the farm bill passed. Because right now, if it goes out at the 1 year, when it gets onto the full Senate, they're not going to have the votes to pass it, and that's hurting farmers and that's hurting everybody across the United States. So we'll continue to watch that very closely. But inside of that, this particular farm bill, it is, and we'll talk about this a little bit next week. But it is proposals in there that talks about origin of where your product was actually born, raised, and slaughtered. I don't have that information here in front of me. What we will do, we'll get more into that. Don't want to talk too much about it today because I'm not 100% sure when that farm bill comes out, will that still be in there? You see, they talked about EA 15 and a couple other things. So don't want to get out in front of them. Let's see what's going to come out. And then after it comes out, we will actually digest the farm bill and make sure that you clearly understand what's in it and how it affects you, because this farm bill not only will affect farmers on the ground, but it will actually affect people throughout our entire country, depending on what you're trying to do in the world of agriculture. In addition to the farm bill, another big issue that's going on right now, and I want to thank everybody this morning that's watching us right now. We got about 120 people watching, so thank you for that. Thank you for sticking with us. Please give us feedback to let us know if we're doing a good job of giving you the information that you want. We put out on another one of my platforms of I think it was on Sunday, where we actually asked a question about medical marijuana or medical hemp. And I think we're going to come back and do a full show on that particular topic at a later date over here. So what we're trying to do is take our agriculture platform and then put it into some other places and just get feedback from our audience so that we have a better idea of where we should be going in the future. But what I was going to say is right now we do have a situation in the United States that touches a couple things. One, the decision has been made that beef from Mexico will be coming into the United States. It will be inspected, or it's supposed to be inspected. Let me rephrase that. It will be inspected, but it starts on August 24th. So in just a few weeks, because today is the 14th. So in a few weeks, the systems are going to be in place and that beef will start coming in. With that being said, I'm not too concerned about that. I'm not that concerned about it, but I am concerned that we still have the screwworm situation that's going on. But at the end of the day, this beef will be coming in. But in addition to the beef coming in, we have already had beef that came in from Argentina, not the cows. Let me back up, make sure everybody clearly understand what I'm saying. what you're going to see that's coming in from Mexico will be cows that are still living, and then they will be processed here in the United States, because many of the cattlemen that I'm a part of the Cattlemen Association, they have built their farms and operations based on that cattle coming out of Mexico. And since the border's been closed down for well over a year now, they are in the hurt locker, and it's time to open the border back up and support them. But at the same time, make sure that we have the safety things in place. The other piece I want to touch on before we go to the video on this is just this past week, we had a situation where just beef, not the cow. The cow has already been slaughtered. Now it's the beef. That beef came into the United States, went into Florida and other places, and now has been recalled. So I just want to touch on both of those, because on the back end, I want to talk about the importance of making sure that our food is inspected, because not only do we have a problem with that particular beef, but I think everybody's tracking. We got a problem with lettuce. We got a problem with jalapeno peppers. So that tells me that Secretary Rollins and others need to get on top of their game and make sure that we guys are getting the inspections done, because the last thing we want is people not feeling comfortable eating the food here in the United States. And so from that, let's do the video first that talks about the cattle coming in, and then we'll move into some of the other things.
Who benefits the most from this border reopening immediately, and who might not see the impacts immediately when we talk about the U.S. cattle sector here?
So in talking with our membership, we have producers and members of this association in California, Arizona, New Mexico, and Texas who have been hurting because of this border closure. You know, these are U.S. producers. They're members of NCBA. They have built their business model around bringing cattle out of Mexico and utilizing them in their operations. And without having that, a lot of them have struggled. They have struggled financially. So this is something that U.S. producers in those states are going to benefit from. And it's also looking at the infrastructure of this country. You know, we had Lubbock feeders that went down. We have had packing plants that have shut down or scaled back operations. NCBA is one that does not want to see us export our capacity and our infrastructure into Mexico. We don't want to start sending our cattle south to be fed and to be processed. We want to make sure that we can protect that feeding and that processing infrastructure here, because all of that has a trickle-down effect on every single cow-calf producer in this country. We need to make sure that we stay strong. And I believe being able to bring those cattle in at a time where we continue to have both good demand and low cattle numbers is extremely important for the industry as a whole.
Yeah, I agree with him 100%. If we can do it safely, let's bring the cattle back in. It was something we've been doing for a long time. Keep those operations out west up and running, because if they actually collapse on itself, it's going to put us in the hurt locker to get them reopened. I want to move very quickly because I want to respect everybody's time this morning. We try to do this show in about 30, 35 minutes. But I want to move very quickly to let you understand what was going on down in Florida when it came down to this Argentina beef. Again, this is the hamburger. This is the steaks. It's not the cow. This is the next process of that. Some kind of way that beef got here into the United States and was not inspected. And the question was this the first time, or has this been going on for quite some time? So please play that video. As my good friend, the Agriculture Commissioner down there in Texas, please play the video.
Ag Commissioner Sid Miller tonight demanding answers after a recent beef recall. About 30,000 pounds of Argentine beef sold in Texas and Florida, but it's been recalled because the products were imported without going through a standard reinspection process. He says the USDA needs to answer for the mix-up.
We've been doing this for a year. How much got through we didn't know about? How much is out there uninspected that we didn't catch? We caught this one, basically a trailer truck load, 30,000 pounds. So, I think that the agriculture committees in the House and the Senate need to bring Brooke Rollins, USDA. We need to figure out what happened. We don't need a repeat of this. We've got to get to the problem and fix it.
The recall comes about a year after President Trump announced a plan to import more meat from Argentina. Miller, by the way, says he disagrees with that plan.
Yeah, you know, at the end of the day, I'm on the fence on bringing in beef from Argentina. The deal is, the reality of it is done now. What we need to do is make sure that the beef that's coming in is inspected, make sure it's safe for consumption. And Mr. Miller is exactly right. When the Senate comes back in, they need to call Secretary Rollins in and have her explain what are we doing and how did this actually happen. So I would tell you, it's a lot of things that's going on in the world of agriculture. All that goes back up to the USDA. You know how we talk about our stew and we talk about row crops and everything else, but it all sits up under or wrapped around by the USDA. This is one of those times that the USDA got to stand up. So with that being said, let me just talk a little bit about screwworms that are actually happening right now. You would say to yourself, well, this screwworm thing's been going on for weeks now. It's got to be over. No, it's not. We got 45 cases, 45 total cases. Those cases are still down in Texas and New Mexico, but 3 of those cases are active. The USDA is trying different ways. They're now using drones to fly over the herd of cattle and trying to identify if we have a screwworm situation. That's a good thing. They're using technology. But the reality of it is we got to stay on top of it. But when I say stay on top of it, as you notice, these last 3 stories, all 3 of these stories that we just talked about with the cattle coming in from Mexico, the beef that's coming in from Argentina, and then the screwworm situation, all of those things are things that are actually 100% inside of Secretary Rollins' responsibility to stay on top of and keep us safe. And I think as we continue to move forward, we just kind of need to be watching this very closely. I would tell you today, one of the things that I have on my agenda here on the farm is as soon as I go out today, because it's not going to rain, it's going to be extremely hot, I will spray my cows again today for flies, because we're just trying to make sure we keep that pressure down, that fly pressure off of them. So that'll happen first thing in the morning. I'll probably do a little video of it and kind of go from there. I'm not sure if I actually have a video for the screwworm situation. Okay, my staff says I don't, which is awesome. I also want to say this. I want to say, because we're sitting at 32 minutes, and like I said, I try to keep it within 30 minutes to respect your time, so you can get on out on your farm and get in your garden or get out there and get ready to go to work and kind of go from there. But I always end my show this way. You know, I always empty the cup. I always empty the cup. But before we empty the cup, we always talk about the pressures that farmers are under, just like veterans are under pressure. Y'all guys know I did several years in the military, but that's here nor there. Today I'm talking about our farmers, and I know with all the wildfires out west, with the screwworm, with everything else that's going on, drought, you name it, tariffs, you name it, whatever's going on, fuel prices are high, what we're going to do with the war and all those kind of things, it puts unbelievable pressure on our farmers. And I want to make sure that our farmers clearly understand that if you're in a struggle and you need some help, because many times you're the only person out there on the farm during the day, pick up the phone and call 988. It's a professional that's on there, will help you get from today to tomorrow. Because like I say all the time, I don't want you to make a long-term decision for a short-term problem. So that's the same thing I told my soldiers in the military. I want to be able to talk to you tomorrow. So pick up that phone, call that number, or family members. If your husband or wife is struggling and you need some help, pick up that number, pick up the phone and call 988. A professional will answer that phone 24 hours a day and actually help their spouse or whoever get through the situation so they can actually be here with us tomorrow. So I pray that all of our farmers stay safe across the board. We're going to talk a little about farm safety at some point. But with that, guys, you know, it's been a great day. Glad to be back in the saddle. We actually had about 150 people watching this morning. Hey, The cup is empty. Have a great day.